Welcome back to Beers Up Sports Talk. Sibo in the house, Debo in the house, episode 29. We've almost made it to 30. We're almost in our 30s, folks. Easy there.
Yeah.
Before we get started tonight, Debo, what are you drinking on?
Went back up to progression. Got that connect the dots. Saving a few for the trip down to Delaware this week. So
There we go.
almost drank them all.
Bottoms up. And I have a little White Lions Galaxy IPA.
Nice.
When I got the beer the last time, when I got the delivery, I didn't get this one. So I had to pick it up, try it out. Looks delicious, tastes delicious.
Perfect.
All right, let's get started, folks. Let's jump right into football. The NFL and the NFLPA have been negotiating an opt-out deadline. Why, I don't know. I'm still confused as to why it's happening. But they've negotiated it. It looks like it's about to happen. Pretty much breaking news as we're jumping on the air tonight. Thursday, 4 p.m., NFL players have to make the decision whether or not they're going to opt out, except not necessarily, but at least this is the first deadline. What are your thoughts on this opt-out date being negotiated a week ahead of time?
Yeah, it's weird. I think the NFL's a little scared that players are opting out really quickly. But, I mean, so you're telling me in 3 weeks if a player's like, there's 4 COVID positive tests on my team, I think I'm done. Like, that's not going to be able to happen. They're going to be allowed to opt out, but they have to do it, I guess, legally for whatever reasons, just so the NFL and the NFLPA have their hands on it, I guess. That's the only thing I can think of.
And in some of the reading I was doing tonight, it doesn't mean a player can't opt out, like you said, 3 weeks down the road. There's just going to be some language in probably some type of salary thing. I wonder if this is kind of like, if you opt out by this point, you get a certain dollar amount, which I'm sure that's what it is, and maybe it decreases as it gets closer. Either way, I keep reading the MLB players keep opting out. Some of them, not necessarily on the full 30-man roster, but if they're in that 60-player pool, like, they're still opting out. I saw Shelby Miller did it today. What are we talking about? Like, if people don't want to play, let them not play. Expand the rosters. Do what these other sports are doing and allowing these players to kind of feel it out, because obviously you want the players to come, practice, see if they can do it. If they can, great. If they can't, let them opt out. Let them get out of there.
Yeah, and 8 Patriots already.
Well, did you see the conspiracy theory that this is Belichick's plan? He's freed up a ton of cap room by doing this, by having – I read something the other day. I'm going to shout out Barstool. I think it was a Barstool thing where it was like Belichick's having players opt out so he can gain cap room, so he can sign players that he wants to sign. Whatever. I think Belichick probably wants to get this season canceled because he's got a shitty team, but that's just me.
I mean, yeah, it's interesting, but, you think maybe they're just trying – they wouldn't be trying to phone it in because they wouldn't have signed Cam if they were trying to phone it in for real. Like, they make it seem like they're trying, but, I don't
know. Cam's only getting $550K. Like, that's it. Like, if he doesn't play a single game, they pay him $550, and that's it. Yeah. And again, it's probably going to end up, if they don't have a season, being a prorated salary anyway.
But what do you got? You got Hawkinson, Stafford, and the receiver from Detroit. Can't think of his name, honestly.
Geronimo, right? Him too.
Oh, and Geronimo Allison, and the top
Kenny, right?
Holiday.
Yes, we'll get there.
3 of them are on the COVID list. I don't know. I was watching Aaron Rodgers live today, and they asked him. Matt LaFleur is thinking about bringing in a 4th quarterback to sit in the meetings but not ever practice, just so in case one of them tests positive, they have another quarterback. And Rodgers is like, it's crazy that we have to do this, but it's what you have to do to survive this season.
Right. Funny Aaron Rodgers story. Do you see the story that popped up that when they drafted Jordan Love, he drank an entire cup of tequila straight to the dome?
Yeah, when he was like, I had to get the 4 fingers of tequila. I was like, wait, tequila? Wow. Good for him, man.
Do you, Aaron Rodgers?
Yeah.
All right, let's jump to the XFL.
What's that?
Let's jump to the XFL. That second time around, Vince McMahon, $100 million invested, within a couple of games was bankrupt, and he's looking to sell. He's got a buyer. And it's a team led by The Rock. Now, if you don't think I'm getting into conspiracy theories here.
I'm trying to do the eyebrow. Does it work?
Yes.
All right, cool.
I mean, I'm full of conspiracy theories on this, that a wrestler was part of the team that bought the XFL from the guy who used to be in charge of the wrestling league. But that's neither here nor there. $15 million.
15 million?
15 million is what it cost to buy the XFL. I feel like I could have got a team together. I mean, I wouldn't need them to put up the money, but like, I'm good for like a couple grand. I could have invested.
Yeah, I mean, not bad.
Here's something though. Well, let me just ask you straight up. Does this league ever happen? Does it ever work?
Like, why are they even trying to do this? I mean, they started off pretty positively, to be honest. The first couple games, first couple weekends, it was good. And then it was just, COVID came around and didn't really give it a huge chance to succeed. I don't know if there are enough good players after the NFL to start a whole second league. I mean,
so here, I kept trying to figure this out.
The Canadian Football League is successful, but that's a whole different audience, right? I mean, that's all in Canada. So
and that's got decades of history, right? Like it's
right.
It's a different sport almost in the way
Warren
they play.
Moon played.
Right.
Steve Young played for them.
Yeah. I just keep thinking there has to be some appeal for people to keep – Vince McMahon obviously invests a lot of money. But with that $15 million, you gain what? Like, what do you own now, right? Like, but the other part of it is, can there be a minor league football league? Is the question that comes to my mind. Can there be one? Now, I think if you're not trying to compete with the NFL, if you're not trying to be on Sundays or Saturdays, if you're trying to, if you're a league that plays midweek games and hypes up players and gives, maybe a college kid who wants to drop out and sign some I'm just trying to think of like how this league succeeds, right? Because why anybody would invest money in this league at this point is beyond me, unless they think we can have a minor league football team. Yeah. And I can't even finish saying what I'm trying to say because I don't really believe it.
Yeah, what I've read is they think it's an easy transition to do a bubble concept. So like NBA is doing, like NHL is kind of doing. They got two different bubbles, but I mean they're doing it, and it's something that NHL and I know MLB started talking about it with doing some stuff in just Arizona, but it might be the right way. I mean,
I don't understand how, like, what the end game is, right? Like, is it just to like have a league so people watch? Like, I guess you think that people are going to watch it on TV. People aren't really going to watch it on TV, but if you can create a minor league system for the NFL, maybe you can do well enough that the NFL buys you in 5 years.
Yeah, I think it's hard because, I mean, it was March, right, that they started this. And March weather's starting to get a little bit better. People are really amped from football from September to January, now February. And, it's hard to just come up and be like, it's now starting to become spring. I don't really want to sit and waste my Saturdays and Sundays watching football. I shouldn't say waste, but you know what I mean? Like, now have to get my yard ready. My kids are playing sports, and yes, they played sports in the fall, but it's something that's already established. You've done it. You have your one team you watch, and then it's just always on. Like,
well, and the quality was awful. Let's be honest. Like, it wasn't good football, right? And again, if you're trying to put a product on TV for the national audience, I just don't think it's going to work.
Yeah.
Fun stat though. They paid $15 million. That is $5 million less than The Rock gets per movie. So
he just was like, oh, I got this.
Like, is Moana 2 coming out soon or something?
Yeah.
What? You're just gonna do another voiceover, get that 22 mil and call it a day.
I'll make it and lose it in the same day.
Right. There's got to be another Fast and Furious coming out, like Fast and Furious 23, The Rock. 23 million. I don't know. All right. For me, this is a non-story, but let's just have at it. Antonio Brown. I can't even say his now. Antonio Brown.
I think this is like the third time you've done that in this podcast history.
Got an 8-game suspension. He's not even on a team. He says he can't wait to get back to playing football this year.
So I get it. You think it's a non-story, and I can understand why. I mean, the guy was kind of a clown the last year and a half, or 1.5 seasons.
Yeah.
Now that people know what they got, like now that they know it's an 8-game suspension, why not take a chance on him? You can
because it's not. I don't think it's guaranteed that he's coming back after 8. I think they reserve the right. The NFL reserves the right to kind of revisit it. And 2, yeah, you know what you got. A guy that is an absolute wackadoo. He's a nut. What are you going to sign him for? To bring drama to your team?
He had a great game for his one game with the Patriots.
One game. And then what happened?
He's got the talent.
A lot of people have the talent.
Yep.
A lot of people have talent. Here's the thing. To me, and maybe I'm stereotyping wide receivers right now. This is like Josh Gordon. Always got the talent. Always got the talent. Always got the talent. It's just not – he just can't do it.
Yeah.
Now, again, 2 different situations, substance abuse versus Antonio Brown, just I don't even know what it is, right? But the reality is, yes, talent is important. But if you're 8 games into a season and your team's got good camaraderie and you're 5-3 or 6-2, and you bring this guy into your team because you're like, he's going to give us the boost we want, and he doesn't get the number of targets he wants in the first week back on the field, you know he's going to lose his mind. At least I think he will. I don't know. I'd stay
he probably
100 yards away from that guy.
Yeah. Maybe it's just because I'm as a Packers fan, I'm hurting for receivers. Because Devin Funchess wasn't even good, and he was probably our 3rd best receiver, and he's gone. So, he opted out. The Packers.
I just don't like. I can't. I mean, again, there's the rumors out there that Tom Brady wants him in Tampa. Like, how's he going to fit in with that receiving core? They got too many receivers as it is.
I was going to say, what the hell do they need Antonio Brown for? They got 2 receivers and 2 tight ends that can catch the ball.
And they just picked up Shady,
and they had Ronald Jones, who's good out of the backfield.
Right.
They're fine.
Yeah. AB, get the hell out of here. Just retire for once and for all. Stop retiring and unretiring, whatever. Get out of my face.
Stop calling him Brett Favre.
Right. All right. The Pac-12 over the weekend. Well, let's back it up. So the Pac-12 over the weekend announced their football schedule. A little aggressive, I think, to announce your football schedule right now, but they plan to start at the end of September. Yeah. Shortly after that, the Pac-12 football players, not all of them, but a bunch of them came out and have basically threatened to opt out. They've got a hashtag, We Are United. They've got basically what it amounts to a list of demands, a bunch of them surrounding COVID testing and safety, but also better treatment and understanding of people of color, students of color, athletes of color, and then, of course, because they're putting their lives at risk by playing a sport that's dangerous and doing it during a pandemic, revisiting the idea of getting paid to do what they do. Initial thoughts on this, D?
I mean, good for them. I mean, they don't have a union like the NFL or any of the other players' union have to do this for them. And they must have started reaching out to each other to do this because, that's a lot of legwork to get something like this off the ground. So I think good on them. I think, it's interesting to see. It'll be interesting to see where it goes from here. Will other players in different conferences be like, wait, they're right. We should start thinking about this.
When I saw that the Pac-12 released their football schedule, I was like, wait, there's going to be football this year?
There's a couple. Couple conferences have announced 8-game conference schedules.
I get it. I get that.
You have to. It's
no, you don't have to. This is what I don't understand about this whole thing. You don't have to announce anything. If on September 20th, the Pac-12 said, we're playing football this weekend, people would be glued to their TVs. Fair enough. To say it now, and again, you bring your kids in. First of all, these are pretty much the only kids coming to campus. There's not a whole lot of kids coming to campus, right? And so you're bringing these football players. You talked a couple weeks ago about how 2 UMass players had already tested positive days on the campus. Like, you're putting these kids in harm's way just so you can put them on TV so that you can collect your dollars. Like, that's really what this is coming down to, right?
I just got the number. It's going to be, we'll have 7,000 undergrads on campus.
Plus all of the kids off campus, right?
No, but yeah, so there'll be 7,000 living on campus, but taking classes remote.
That's a COVID petri dish if I've ever seen one.
I mean, you would know. You lived there, right?
Yikes. Well, especially, we'll get into that later. Well, we can't talk about that. But I think it's really cool what they're doing. I love that they're using this opportunity to kind of speak out to, a long time ago, many moons ago, I was like, athletes don't need to get paid. College athletes don't need to get paid. They get a full ride. I wish I got a full ride. That's the dumbest thing of all time. These kids should get paid. This is a $1 billion industry, and grown-ass white old men are making money off these kids. And what I liked about one of the things they said is that there are players that won't go pro that in college could be making money off their likeness, and they should have the opportunity to do that because they're not going to get the multi-million-dollar contracts like some of these NFL players or these college players that become NFL players. They go on to jobs. They go on to doing other things. They should be able to make money off their likeness in college because they are working their tails off and making tons of money, billions of dollars for the NCAA and for these schools.
For the schools?
So good on them.
Yep.
All right. The NBA is back, baby. And I want to say something. I said it'd be shitty. I said it'd be low scoring. It hasn't really been low scoring.
But you also said it's either going to be low scoring or it's going to be high scoring because no one's going to be in shape enough to play defense. And that's what I'm seeing. Because I'll tell you what. First game I put on was Zion. And boy, does he look hefty.
Well, they're not even going to play him. They're playing him like 15 minutes a night. They're not. I've already read enough stories that said.
Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong. But, I mean, I watched him, and, I mean, he played like 5 minutes straight, and they put him down, and he was sucking wind. He's looking rough. I mean, he looked good when he was playing. He had a crazy alley-oop. He had a great behind-the-back pants. Yeah, pants. Behind-the-back pass. But it was great. I mean, I'm so excited. Like, it was fun. I mean, we'll talk about the Celtics. They're 1-1, and you know what? They've let up 120 points both games. They had a 20-point lead in one game against Portland. I'm not even worried. They look good. Tatum didn't play good in that first game, and they hung with I mean, what? At one point, I turned it on, and they said he was 1 of 11, and his one was tipped in by the other team, and he was the closest to the hoop. And that's why he got credit for it. So, I mean, I think if the Celtics can figure the defense out, they're going to be a tough out.
I think to your point and maybe to my point, so let me retract my I was wrong. I was always right, like I'm always right. It's bad defense.
Well, it's funny because you're like, they're either going to be really low or really high score.
Well, right. It's funny because when I watch the games, I don't necessarily see bad defense, but I also don't see people are going to put their energy on offense, right? Like they're going to do that. They do that anyway, but in this restart, they're going to do it even more because you don't want to lose playing time to some like 15th man who's going to get hot and whatnot. But yeah, I mean, I think it's been fun to watch. I mean, I watched the Celtics first game. I watched Harden in the next game come out and put up like 23 points in the first quarter.
Yeah.
Yes, NBA is back. It's entertaining. I love everything that they're doing. I love the big Black Lives Matter on the courts. I love what they're doing with the interactive fans. I think that's really cool. I just love the setup. And I love the fact that it doesn't seem like anybody's testing positive.
Yeah, they've had, like 2 or 3 weeks in a row with 0 positive tests?
Apparently, this Orlando bubble was a really good idea because both soccer and basketball are doing really well.
That's good.
Yeah, I mean, I just feel like, and with Zion, like, they've already come out and said, like, we don't want to play. And I get it because Jonathan Isaac of the Magic just tore his ACL. So, like, imagine coming back for this. You tear your ACL and it's done.
Yeah, one thing I don't think I realized that if you are within 4 games of the 8th seed, you play a possibly 2-game playoff play-in, which we talked about. But so the 9 seed would have to win both games, and the 8 seed would have to win only one.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
I think the Pelicans are just going to lose games until they're out of the playoffs, and then Zion's going to just be shut down. And I get it. Like, you don't like the next season starts in like 2.5 months.
Yeah,
that's what you want Zion for.
Yep.
You know,
it'll be interesting.
Anyway.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's still between them. What, San Antonio and Portland?
Mm-hmm.
So it'll be interesting.
Again, I just want to reiterate, and I know I said this when we were doing our NBA stuff a couple weeks ago. I don't understand how Portland is so bad, because when they get hot, like they got hot in like the third quarter, fourth quarter, get the hell out of here.
McCollum
and Dame, Jesus,
Jr.
Right, and Dame, like they're all just like pulling up from 30 feet, like it's no big deal.
Yeah, Trent hit one shot that I was just, what's just happened?
Right.
But Jalen, do you see the pull up for Jaylen Brown? I was like, was that like 30 steps? No, it was just a nice catch.
I'm so excited for the future for the Celtics. Like,
yeah, Jalen's nice.
And here's the tough thing about the Celtics, right? And like, not to go on a tangent, but like, you know, like Hayward hurts himself. He's never been the same. Kemba plays every game of his career until he gets to Boston. All of a sudden, he's got knee issues. And when he gets knee issues is the time where basically 2 seasons are going to get squeezed into one. Like, he's going to get no rest for that knee. It would probably be great if, like, he had those 2 or 3 months off and got surgery and missed the first couple of months of the season and worked his way back. And instead, I assume the Celtics are going to make a decent run, if not all the way to the championship.
Right.
Win it, no big deal. And then they're going to have to turn around and basically start another season. And I just wonder, like, how much they're going to expect from Kemba in year 2 if his knee is, you know, kind of chalky.
Yeah, it seems like they're on a minutes with him as well, like Zion is. But I mean, Marcus Smart, he's good. I knew he was good, but man, he kept them in that game against Milwaukee, and his defense is. I mean, he was rotating, bumping Giannis. He took that awesome charge that got reversed, and you know, got fined $15K for it. But
Giannis got his calls. Should have been fouled out like 6 times in that game. Should have been fouled out. All right,
no doubt.
Let's finish with Major League Baseball. Our last episode was titled "The Miami Marlins Are a Hot Mess." 13 or so players tested positive for COVID. They had to cancel or postpone a bunch of games. Yada, yada, yada. Next episode, 13 St. Louis Cardinal players or staff members have tested positive. Look what I could do with my hands, folks. What the hell is going on with Major League Baseball? They're not going to make it.
I don't know what to do with my hands.
They're not going to. Listen, tonight before we did this podcast, I just want to say this. I jump on ESPN and I look at standings, and I'm like, let me just see where teams are. I know the Red Sox suck. The Braves are popping off. Yankees, Twins. Oh, by the way, let me look at some of these teams. The Marlins are like 1-2.
2-1.
Or 2-1.
Phillies have also only played
and they're 1-2.
Yep.
You got teams that have played 10 games and teams that have played 3 games. The Cardinals and Tigers 4-game series postponed.
Gone.
What the fuck, people? What?
Yeah, I would love to know how it happened. I mean, are these players going out hitting the titty bar like Lou Will?
Like Big Lou? What the? Yes. What are these? What? So here's the thing. Like, I'm so like, I want to know. Is it the players or is it like the clubhouse guys that just work at the stadium who like go home and like they're like, oh, let's go out to dinner, honey, tonight and sit inside a restaurant.
TJ, get some baby back ribs.
Just stay, like, just lock some folks up. Like, don't let them leave. What are we doing? Stop.
Yeah. I mean, the good news, Miami in the last 2 days have had 0 new confirmed cases, so that's positive.
That's right, because they put everybody on fucking lockdown.
I'm trying to
Major League Baseball, like, of all the sports, right? Like NBA, if they had a big breakout, like they'd still survive because they've got LeBron, they've got KD, they've got stars. Hockey, rabid fan base. Like people are always going to show up. Major League Baseball can't afford this. Like they can't afford like a constant
Yeah.
and continuing fuck up. Like
Yeah.
they just can't.
I mean, you saw Cespedes. He was just like, nah, I'm good.
Bro, he just packed his bags. They went to check on him in the room, and he was gone.
They're like, we haven't heard from him. Let's do a wellness check, and he gone. But no, we got the craziest part. Nick Markakis is opting in.
Bruh, good on Nick Markakis. I'm sure the Braves were like, listen, we could use some folks, and if we just like airmail you like a suitcase full of cash, will you just come on and play with us?
Yeah, I mean, he says it was because he felt bad that these players were busting their butts.
Also, it helps that the Braves got out to a 7-3 start. I'm sure if they were 2-8, he'd probably be like,
nah, I'm good.
I'm gonna stay home. I'm good on this one.
Yep. So do you find it surprising that Trout's coming back?
That he is coming back?
Yeah.
I don't find it surprising. I mean, I'd heard some stuff that he might leave and not come back after his child was born. Again, I think if you take I have to assume that some of these teams are taking the proper precautions and some of them aren't. I think that like if he feels safe enough, like, and again, I'm sure that his wife is surrounded by a bunch of family members that are going to be able to take care of this kid. And again, this season is only 2 months long, so he's going to be back in no time, right? Like,
yeah.
Angels aren't off to a hot start, so the season might not be that long for him anyway. Who knows?
True. I mean, Ohani's
he's not throwing. His elbow's already fucked up again.
Yeah. Why? Like at this point, just make him a DH and just go at it.
Right. I just Major League Baseball, please get your shit together. Like, please. Like Manfred comes out after the Marlins thing, and he's like, "This is not good." And then like they have a couple of conversations, and they're like, "We're not gonna cancel. We want to play baseball." And then half the fucking Cardinals test positive, and he's gonna like if this happens again next week, like this is 2 times in 2 weeks where almost 15 players, if not 15 players, and staff members have tested positive for a team. If this keeps happening. And it's not linked, right? Like, that's the other thing. This isn't like the Cardinals aren't linked to the Marlins in any way. Like, this is a problem. It's not good.
No, it's not good.
Jesus Christ.
I mean, it's been fun. I've watched some O's Sox, the Yankees Sox. I've watched some of the Braves. It's good to see the Braves getting out there, playing pretty well.
Yeah, live sports is off the chains. I'm gambling again. This is good. Maybe not good for my pocket, but like it's good. Like it's great to have sports back, but like Major League Baseball, please get your shit together.
Yeah, and you got your Bruins shirt on. They were a little rough the other night, huh? Or the other day.
Listen.
I mean, what do you expect? I mean, it was going to go. They were going to do well, or they weren't, right? I mean,
and again, for them, it's not about doing well right now.
They got. I mean. I'd prefer they get the 1 or 2, but then I was even talking with Jacob, and I was like, oh, they lost 4-1. They didn't play great, and he's like, oh, that's not good, and I'm like, oh, it's not that big of a deal because there's no home ice, like there is no home ice,
right? And like the reality is, they're going to the playoffs. They're a top 4 seed.
Get it together in the next 4 games. And see what happens. There's no.
I mean, they basically have those top 4 seeds have an extended, like, preseason to get back. They get to figure their lines out. They get healthy. They get to start skating together. Yeah, they have to do it in live games, but like the Bruins could lose all those games, and it doesn't matter. They're still going to the playoffs. They're still a top 4 seed.
Yep.
And they're going to have every chance to win the Stanley Cup.
And then, I mean, Halak was the starter and not Tuukka, so. That's another issue. We'll see. Hopefully he can get healthy and get back.
Listen, man, sports are back. We're back. It's a beautiful thing.
Tomorrow.
It's a beautiful thing. Listen, man, you're going on vacation. It is what it is. We're back. Sports are back. Beers Up Sports Talk, taking over the world. That's all I'm saying.
We're going to start popping now. Now we got some extra stuff to talk about. Not just like, oh, cool, some really slow story days, but I think we're going to have a lot to talk about in the coming days.
No doubt. You got anything for me at the end of this?
It's the same shit. I mean, it's wear your mask. Bring up Breonna Taylor.
Wear your damn mask, folks.
Bring up Breonna Taylor. Black Lives Matter. All of it. Make it happen.
Can't stop.
And I'll tell you what, I make the mistake every single night going on Twitter, and then I get into rabbit holes and black holes. And last night, this guy was like, I'm sick of the politics in NBA. I'm done. And I'm like, equality is not politics. It's not politics. It's equality. It's not something we should have to, like, fight about. It's literally like, oh, shit. People aren't being treated.
Right. Also, bro, shut your mouth. These guys make $40 million a year so that you can watch them on the TV. They can do whatever the fuck they want.
Boom.
You know? All right, y'all. Till next time. Debo's going on vacation, so I don't know. I might try to steal him away. I might just jump on and do something weird myself. I don't know. We'll see what happens. But stay with us. We'll be back soon.
Peace.